The Third Punic War, from 149 to 146 BC, marked the final chapter in the struggle between Rome and Carthage. For Rome, it was a chance to eliminate a rival and secure dominance in the Mediterranean. For Carthage, it was a desperate fight for survival. The First and Second Punic Wars had already demonstrated the military might of both powers. Now, in the Third Punic War, the stakes were higher than ever. The outcome would decide the fate of not just two empires, but the course of Western civilization. Rome, with its insatiable hunger for land and power, and Carthage, a maritime empire built on trade, were destined to clash. The Third Punic War was the culmination of this clash, a final confrontation that would leave one empire in ruins and the other on the path to becoming a global superpower. To understand the Third Punic War, we must first delve into the rise of Rome. Rome's journey from a small city-state to a dominant power in the Mediterranean was remarkable. Early Rome was a society of warriors and farmers, fiercely independent and driven by a deep sense of destiny. Their early conquests in Italy forged a military machine of unparalleled discipline and effectiveness. The Roman Republic, with its unique system of governance and citizen soldiers, proved to be a recipe for success. By the 3rd century BC, Rome had emerged as the dominant power in Italy, its legions feared and respected throughout the peninsula. However, Rome's ambitions extended far beyond the Italian peninsula. This rivalry, born of competing interests and mutual suspicion, would ignite the Punic Wars, a series of conflicts that would consume both empires for over a century. The Punic Wars, a series of 3 conflicts spanning over a century, were a testament to the enduring rivalry between Rome and Carthage. The First Punic War, sparked by a dispute over the Sicilian city of Messana, saw Rome transform into a formidable naval force. This conflict ended with a Roman victory and the annexation of Sicily, Carthage's most important overseas possession. The Second Punic War witnessed the genius of the Carthaginian general Hannibal Barca. Hannibal's audacious crossing of the Alps with an army of elephants and his string of victories on Italian soil brought Rome to the brink of collapse. However, Rome's resilience and determination ultimately prevailed. Under Scipio Africanus, they carried the war to Africa, culminating in Hannibal's defeat at the Battle of Zama in 202 BC. These wars left an indelible mark on both empires, setting the stage for the Third Punic War. The Third Punic War was the culmination of decades of simmering resentment, fueled by mistrust and a desire for revenge. Rome, haunted by the spectre of Hannibal, viewed Carthage as a threat that needed to be permanently neutralized. The immediate cause of the war was a minor border dispute between Carthage and Numidia, a Roman ally. Carthage, bound by the humiliating terms of the treaty that ended the Second Punic War, was forbidden from waging war without Rome's permission. When Carthage defended itself against Numidian aggression, Rome seized upon this as a pretext for war. An influential faction in the Roman Senate, led by Cato the Elder, had long advocated for the complete destruction of Carthage. Despite Carthaginian attempts to appease Rome, offering complete surrender and even the destruction of their own city walls, the Roman Senate was unmoved. War was inevitable. Carthago delenda est, Cato famously declared at the end of every speech, no matter the topic. The Third Punic War was not without its share of brilliant military minds and charismatic leaders. On the Roman side, the war was initially entrusted to the consuls Manius Manilius and Lucius Marcius Censorinus. However, the tide of the war turned with the arrival of Scipio Aemilianus, the adopted grandson of Scipio Africanus. Scipio Aemilianus, a man of great intellect and military acumen, inherited his grandfather's strategic genius. He understood that Carthage, despite its weakened state, could not be defeated by brute force alone. Facing the Romans was Hasdrubal, a Carthaginian general of considerable skill and determination. Tasked with defending a city with dwindling resources and a demoralized populace, Hasdrubal rallied his forces for a desperate defense. The clash between these two military minds, Scipio Aemilianus and Hasdrubal, would ultimately decide the fate of Carthage. One sought to secure Rome's dominance, the other fought for survival. The Third Punic War pitted the might of the Roman legions against the resolute defenders of Carthage. The Roman army, a well-oiled machine honed by centuries of warfare, was renowned for its discipline, organization, and tactical flexibility. At the outset of the war, the Roman forces numbered approximately 36,000 to 46,000 infantry and 4,000 cavalry. The Carthaginians, though significantly weakened, were no pushovers. The defense of their city was bolstered by a citizen army swelled by volunteers, mercenaries, and even slaves. The Carthaginians possessed a powerful navy, and their city, heavily fortified and strategically located, presented a formidable challenge. The Romans, however, possessed a decisive edge in terms of manpower, resources, and experience. Their legions were equipped with superior weaponry and armor, and their soldiers were trained to fight in a variety of terrains and tactical situations. Rome's extensive network of allies provided them with a steady stream of reinforcements and supplies, a luxury that Carthage could ill afford. The Third Punic War was in essence a protracted siege, a grueling test of endurance, ingenuity, and resolve. The Roman siege of Carthage, commencing in 149 BC, would drag on for 3 long years. 149 BC. The Roman army, under the command of Manius Manilius, landed at Utica, a strategic port city near Carthage. Initial assaults on the city walls proved ineffective, and the Romans settled into a siege, hoping to starve the Carthaginians into submission. 148 BC. The siege continued, but the Romans made little headway. Frustration grew in Rome as the war dragged on. The Carthaginians, led by Hasdrubal, launched several daring raids from the city, disrupting Roman supply lines. 147 BC, Scipio Aemilianus, fresh from his triumphs in Hispania, was elected consul and given command of the Roman forces in Africa. His arrival marked a turning point in the war. Scipio tightened the siege, cutting off Carthage from all land and sea routes. He ordered the construction of a massive mole to block the entrance to the city's harbour, effectively strangling Carthage's vital seaborne trade. 146 BC, with the harbour blockaded and supplies dwindling, Carthage was on the brink of collapse. Scipio Aemilianus launched his final assault, leading to the fall of Carthage. The ultimate architect of Carthage's destruction was Scipio Aemilianus, a general whose military genius was matched by his political acumen. Upon assuming command, Scipio recognized that Carthage, though weakened, could not be defeated by brute force alone. He understood that a successful siege required not only military might, but also patience, cunning, and a deep understanding of logistics and psychology. Scipio's first order of business was to restore discipline and morale within the Roman ranks. He then set about tightening the siege, cutting off Carthage from all land and sea routes. The construction of the mole was a testament to Roman determination and ingenuity. This blockade, coupled with Scipio's relentless pressure on the city's defences, gradually wore down the Carthaginians' will to resist. Scipio's final assault on Carthage was a masterpiece of military planning and execution. The Romans, advancing street by street, fought their way to the heart of the city, culminating in the capture of the Byrsa. Despite the brutality of the siege, Scipio was not without compassion, recognizing the tragedy of a once great civilization brought low. The fall of Carthage in 146 BC marked the end of an era. The once mighty Phoenician city, a center of trade, culture, and maritime power, was reduced to rubble. Its remaining inhabitants were sold into slavery, and the city itself was systematically razed. The destruction of Carthage had profound implications for the balance of power in the Mediterranean. With its main rival vanquished, Rome stood unchallenged as the dominant power in the region. The Third Punic War paved the way for the rise of the Roman Republic as a global superpower. The ruins of Carthage stand as a poignant monument to the fragility of power and the enduring legacy of human ambition and conflict.